There's another cool and super efficient way to get lots of social media content out there to multiple platforms using Metricool, and it's called Autolists. So on the planning tab, come over here to Autolists on the left-hand side. You can see I've already created a couple, and I think they're daggone cool. So new auto list, let's click that. We'll talk a little bit more once we get in here. So name your auto list, whatever you want it to be. Decide what platforms you want to publish on by just clicking on them. And then of course you'll get the configuration, the global resets, just like when you're making a single post. You'll get all the platform specific presets, like for Facebook, is it a post or a reel? For Instagram, is it a post, reel, or story? For Pinterest, what board do we want it to go on? So all those are pretty typical. It's things that Metricool needs to know to be able to tell the receiving platform what to do with this post when it gets there. Timing is an important part of the auto list. Not that it's just something you can't forget, but this is what it's really about. Your auto list is going to be a tank of content. It's going to have posts, whether they are images, videos, text posts, or whatnot. They're all going to be in this tank. And what Metricool is going to do is, on whatever schedule you designate, it's going to go to that tank, pull out a post, and put it wherever you said to put it. So the timing part, it kind of defaulted to 7:30 a.m. I say, okay, on Sundays and on Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m., that's when I want you to go to this tank and pull something. You can add multiple levels to this. So you can also say, well, at 7:30, oh, that said PM and I said AM. So we'll switch that. So we're going to make Sunday and Wednesday at 7:30 AM, and we'll say at 7:30 PM on Tuesday, let's turn off Sunday, on Tuesday and Friday. I want you to go into this tank and pull something out and post it. You with me so far? So we're saying, here's the platforms we want to work with. We've got all our presets. Imagine we've got all our presets set. You know, what Pinterest board do we want to go to? What Instagram, whether it's a post, a reel, or a story. Facebook, post, reel, story. We do want to auto-publish. If we turn that off, then it's going to have us review and bless everything before we send it on. We don't want to do that. All right, and then we've got our schedule here. So we're saying every Sunday, Wednesday at 7:30 a.m., every Tuesday, Friday at 7:30 p.m., we want you to post something from this tank. Well, what are we going to put in the tank? We got a couple of options. We can either add posts individually to this tank. If we do that, the editor is laid out very similar to what we have when we're doing a single post for multiple platforms, just in that create new post from the planner section. I mean, that's fine. If you want to do them one at a time in here, you're still getting the advantage of you create this post once in here and you can send it to all your social media platforms at one time. That's cool in and of itself. I prefer to batch create my posts and then send them to multiple platforms, but there's nothing wrong with this. Of course, you can use AI if you wanted to help generate your text. Again, I have not explored that feature, so I really don't want to try and act like I have a clue about it. Maybe we'll do that in a future video. You can also add from a CSV file. This is going to be different than the last spreadsheet we used, the template spreadsheet, because when we're creating a spreadsheet for an auto list, we don't have to specify the date and time that it's going to go. That's going to get set by the timing within the auto list, and that setting we can adjust. So the only things that we need to provide this are two columns, the text of our post and then the image or video that we want in the post. So it's a two-column spreadsheet. Literally, text in column A, URL to your picture or video in column B. That's it. Save it as a CSV file, upload it, and it populates all of those things in here. That is really handy. Again, you wouldn't have to specify the dates there. You could set them for, I want them to go every Sunday and Wednesday morning, every Thursday and Friday evening. Or you can set it if you want for 7 days a week at 7:30, I want to post something. And it'll pick from this tank every day at 7:30 in the morning and post something, which is awesome. And I'll show you one of those I've done here in just a minute. Another super cool thing you can do with Autolists, which just takes the cake, is the linked RSS feeds. All you need is the URL address. And if you have a website, particularly if you have a WordPress website, you have an RSS feed, whether you know it or not. So all you do is put in the URL, so it'd be your website name.com or whatever /feed, If you have an RSS feed coming from your website, then every time you post something new on your website, the RSS feed sort of kicks that out. Metricool picks it up, and then it puts it in the auto list to post on your schedule. You tell that auto list, hey, use this RSS feed and post something from it every Tuesday and Thursday. It'll sort of bank those posts that you make. And then when Tuesday comes around, it'll look and say, is there something that this website has done that we can find from its RSS feed? Yeah, great. I'll grab this, the new thing they posted, and put out the post about it. Super cool, huh? So let's go look at the RSS feeds that I already have sort of going on. Okay, so this is one I have it doing exactly that. It watches my website. Anytime there's a new post, it puts it in the tank. So in this case, your auto list is a holding tank, but it's got a pipeline feeding it from somewhere else, your blog or website. So every time something gets posted on my blog or website, it follows a little RSS pipe over to Metricool. Metricool hangs onto it. And then on the schedule I've set, which I set it for Sunday and Thursday, it will post something that's come through. You can also, when you set this up, you can tell it to include your most recent, I think for blogs and whatnot, it's 10 or 15, but you can say, go ahead and add in my last 10 or 15 blog posts so that if your schedule comes around on a Sunday or a Thursday and there's nothing new to post, it can go through and use some of those recent posts. Or if you're trying to get caught up on content, but you want to get started, it'll start working through those older posts. And then anytime the schedule comes around and you've got something new, it'll use that. If you don't have something new, it'll revert back to one that's already in the tank. One thing you should know that's particularly important here with the auto lists is the repeat option. And that's just a question of, do you want Metricool to go through this auto list tank of content one time and then stop? Or do you want it to go through everything and then repeat back the cycle over and over again? And that's going to depend on how much content you really have to work with. You know, is it evergreen content? Then that would make sense to go ahead and have it repeat. If you've only got 2 posts on your blog and they're news related, then probably the repeat isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to keep having that content go over and over again. This is what my auto list looks like, and you can see that I have some errors, and I know exactly what those errors are. These posts either did not have images, or they didn't have images that were the right aspect ratio for Instagram or Pinterest. So I've been working on fixing that particular problem, but you can see here, feed RSS, this is https accelerator.tech/feed. If you're running a WordPress website, WordPress blog, that's going to be it's going to be your URL, add on /feed, there's your RSS feed, and that's how you get this stuff in here. Another thing you can do, which I've done here, is I have a YouTube video auto list. So on this schedule, on Mondays and Fridays, I told it I want it to post to Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest about any new YouTube videos on my channel. And you can see here, the RSS feed is the URL to my YouTube channel. And if you don't know what the URL is to your YouTube channel, you just come into your YouTube studio, click customization, go to the tab that says basic info, scroll down a little bit, and you'll have channel URL. And it even has a little copy button in there. You copy that, take it right over to Metricool, and place it in an auto list, set that as your RSS feed, and you're good to go. Again, I see that there are errors here. And like I said, I was not diligent about the sizes that the images and videos needed to be to go on different platforms. So I'm working on that right now to make that happy. But what this will do is on Mondays and Fridays, Metricool will look at this auto list. It will see if any new videos have been posted. If there have been any recent videos posted to my channel since the last scheduled run, it'll post those out to these social media networks that I've selected. And if there hasn't been anything posted since the last run, it's going to dig back a little bit because I told it to go ahead and bring in the last 15 videos that I posted, so it had a little buffer in the tank, so to speak. I just wanted to give you a walkthrough of the meat and potatoes of the auto list So it would make more sense about what you're setting up when you set it up. Now seems like a good time to remind you to grab your own free Metricool account. Just click the link in the description. I am an affiliate, so if you end up making a purchase at some point from Metricool, I might receive a small commission. It won't cost you a penny more. If I were setting this up again, from the planning tab, we click auto lists and then we do new auto list. And let's say we wanted to set up that YouTube feed. We can start down here. We can say linked RSS feed, just click it. We can drop our channel URL in, which is one of these two. We can drop that in and say search, and it's going to go look and see. And it even gives you a little sample over here so you can see that, yeah, I'm on the right channel. That's the one I want in my auto list. It says that it found 15 posts, which is awesome. It actually found more than that, but what we told it down here was add 15 previous posts. So this is what I was explaining, that I had set it up so that there's 15 in the tank already as a buffer in case there's a scheduled run where it doesn't find anything new. You can disable new posts. So if you want to have it pull from your RSS feed, but you don't want it to take anything that's new, you can click that button and turn it off. Not sure why you would, but it's there. And then add new posts at the beginning of the auto list. So that we want to do so that our new posts get first priority over the old posts. Because if we have new content, we want the new content out. But if we don't, then let's share some of the older stuff. We can also, and this is very interesting, so we're doing our YouTube videos here, we can set a prefix or a suffix. So this is the actual video. If I set a prefix, maybe I say, look at this, ... and a space, of course, because we want to try and be correct. Notice over here in our preview, it's adding, look at this, ... in front of whatever the post or video was. You can also add something to the end. If you want to add something after the post that it's pulling in, you can add something there. So now this is putting the prefix text before the post that it pulled in, which in this case is a video. It also had the text. The text is, in this case, is the video title, the YouTube video title. So it would add the preview text before and the suffix after. You can definitely add emojis to that. And that might be something maybe you want to do for your social media posts that you didn't have on your blog or your website or whatever you're doing. And you also have access here to the save text. So you can click that. Remember we talked about earlier, you can store chunks of text that you use a lot. And this is one of the places where you can draw from that. You'll see the preview over here, what it's going to look like across all the different platforms. And all you would do then, once you have this filled out, is click Save. Now keep in mind, you're seeing a preview here, and when you select this prefix text and this suffix text, that's going to be applied to every piece of content that goes through this particular auto list. If you're telling it to post every Monday and Friday, post about one of your YouTube videos, whatever you set in your prefix and suffix text, that's going to be added to the prefix and suffix on every video that gets posted on Monday and Friday from what you pulled in on that RSS feed. If we're doing the RSS feed from a WordPress site, we put in our RSS feed URL, we do the search, it makes sure it's valid, and you're going to know you're in the right place because, like I said, it's going to pull in something to show you and say, okay, yeah, so I know I just wrote this post a couple hours ago. So good, it found the right thing. It found what I needed it to. And I should have said you can also limit the number of characters. What you're telling it here in this max characters 250 is how many characters you want to be the maximum for this post. Because obviously you don't want to publish the entire blog post, all the text of it, onto your Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. You probably just want to give a little bit of a snippet, a preview, something like that. So I leave that at the default 250. Again, you can add the prefix text or the suffix text. Maybe you want to say my latest blog post. But remember, this will be attached then to every post that comes through on this particular auto list. For your RSS feed for blog posts, you can add up to 10 previous posts. Remember, for the YouTube videos, you could add 15 to sort of put in the tank as a buffer. Here you can do 10. Not sure why you would want to disable the inclusion of new posts. because your new content's most likely what you want to put out, but who knows? There's probably some situations where it makes sense. I don't mess with that. And then add new post at the beginning of the auto list. That makes sure that if there's any new content that you're putting out, it goes to the top of the list. So it's the first thing to leave the tank and get out there on your socials. So just like with all the others, this gives you the preview over on the right, how it's going to look on mobile and on desktop across all the different platforms that you've chosen. And if you hit save, it's done. It is scheduled on whatever schedule you've chosen right here to whatever platforms you've selected up here. Now, another cool thing that you can do with the RSS feeds and Autolist, there might be interesting content that you want to share on your socials that isn't necessarily from your website or your blog post. Maybe it would make sense for you to automatically post weather alerts from the National Weather Service that affect your area. So in that case, find the URL to the RSS feed for your specific area, set that up on an auto list, and then Metricool will pass those through to your social media accounts, and you'll be posting these weather alerts immediately when the RSS feed comes through. Let me show you an example of the True Crime podcast that I co-host. We decided one of the things that we wanted to do is if there were any announcements about missing children, we want to make sure that we're sharing those, because the more eyes on those, the better. The more people that see it and know about it, the more likely somebody is to be able to find that kid and get them returned safely home. So for that, we put in the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, their RSS feed that posts about missing kids. And in order to make sure that it goes out right away, we don't want it to wait on some schedule. As soon as the center puts it out, we want it to go out on our social media. So what we do is we just, under timing, there's nothing. You don't put a schedule, you just leave that blank, and that makes sure that it goes directly out. Like as soon as it comes into the tank, remember my weird analogy here. So the RSS feed is a pipe that's feeding the tank. So when one of these alerts comes through the RSS feed from the center into the tank, it goes directly straight out. It doesn't sit there and wait for the next cycle to come around for a day and time specific to post it. So again, the way you accomplish that is by not having a schedule set here. You leave that blank. There'll be a default one sitting in there. You just delete that. I'll show you that here. So there's my auto list. So if I wanted to, for instance, these YouTube videos, the minute they're published on YouTube, the RSS feed sends it over to Metricool. If I didn't want them to sit in a tank and then post on a regular schedule, like this Monday, Friday, I want them to go like right now whenever they're published, just delete this schedule, and now it's going to go pass through, straight through, gone, done, happy, happy. All right, let me delete this auto list that I accidentally created. If you can't tell, I'm super excited about what Metricool is doing. I just wasn't messing with social media at all because I didn't have time to go every day dealing with all this stuff and the frustration of dealing with different platforms and some of the wonky ways some things work. But this has allowed me to create bulk content that I know is going to go out, so I can sit down for a couple hours and crank some stuff out and know things are going to sustain over a period of months. Or there's some situations here where I've got like a year's worth of content, and then I can go back and layer on different things at different times and different types. And then with the RSS feeds, it feels like I'm really getting somewhere and it's not stressing me out. So I'm all about it. Along the lines of the weather alerts or maybe the missing children alerts, I'm sure there's tons of RSS feeds out there that would be interesting depending on what topic, what area you're in. There's probably finance and stock related RSS feeds, and who knows? There's probably all different ones. Think or do a little search on what feeds might exist out there in your area of expertise and see if maybe there's something related that you could use to be posting additional content that would be helpful to your community, your audience. And really, after just one initial setup, it's on autopilot. If you're not using Metricool yet, why not? Join me in this adventure. There's a link in the description. Keep in mind, I am an affiliate, so if at some point you decide to move off the free plan, no obligation to do that, but if you do and make a purchase, I might receive a small commission. It won't cost you a penny more, and I certainly appreciate it. Remember, I have these teenage boys at home and they eat a lot.